to the Loons podcast. I'm Tony. I'm here with Dave Stevens, Dave Sterling. My name is Tony Popananzi. We are coming live to you, well, not live because it's a podcast. I always say live, but from my garage because, I had a beer fest yesterday. Dave Stevens had Treasure Island cruise / drinking / gambling last night. And Dave Sterling, I don't even know what you did last night, Dave.
I didn't do anything last night.
Yeah.
I sealed the driveway.
Well, there you go. Well, then that's why. Yeah,
exactly. And I went to Insight's Oktoberfest.
Yeah. Okay.
And watched the Loons game. I'm assuming after that.
Loons late game. We are drinking some, of course, local beers once again. Dave Sterling went to Dangerous Man yesterday, picked up a growler of the, what is it, Lemon
Grabber
IPA, which tastes good to me, even though I really can't taste anything with my sinus infection, but it tastes good.
Yeah.
Dave Stevens has a Surly Rosé.
Yes, I'm trying that for the first time, and just to quote their can, it is pink as hell, and honestly, it tastes like a rosé.
It tastes like wine, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And even pouring it into the glass, it actually looked like a wine would.
It's like wine beer. It's
yes.
weird.
Yeah.
How do you rate it? I mean, on a 1 to 10, I probably gave it a solid 7.
Yeah.
I thought it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'd move it more towards the middle of the pack because, I mean, if we're talking about Surly, I'm a huge fan of Surly.
Yeah.
But I think I could probably rattle off a few beers that I'd rather have from Surly over this one. So I think I'd give it a 5 or 6. It's unique. I like it.
It's their part of their small batch series. So what they're trying to do is come out with these like small batches, have them out for like a month, and they come out with a new one. So they're going to come out with this. They've got a sour out right now. They've got a couple of those, and they're going to do it all year. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what else they do.
You would think it would be a seller. I mean, it's brewed with blackcurrant and strawberries. That just sounds intriguing.
Yes.
And it after tasting it, it's certainly good. I'll be looking forward to trying the Dangerous Man there. It looks good. It almost looks like a wheat beer.
It's an IPA, but it's
definitely cloudy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost like a white IPA.
Yeah.
It's a collaboration with Modest.
Oh, it is.
And I've actually never had anything from Modest.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. It looks kind of like I thought it looked like a peach cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right.
But it's tasty. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Speaking of beers, I was at the Monticello Brew Fest yesterday, which is a huge brew fest up in Monticello, of course. I've been doing it for a while now. And our friend Dave, the bartender, was there from Alloy at the Alloy stand. His wife was there as well. So me and Nels talked to him for a while. Guess what they had on tap? Of the 3 beers they had, they had my cherry lime wit. They had the cherry lime wit. My favorite one that those guys had, we had 2 weeks ago. So of course I was drinking that one.
That was one of my favorite, and I ended up coming home with a half growler. What would that be called?
Oh, a crowler.
A crowler, I think was the name. Yeah, I ended up going with the White Noise. It was their white chocolate stout, and They had that yesterday at the VIP tent. Really, that's why I wanted to ask you what they had because I mean I loved all the beers I had, but that was in my top 3 as well as the
Nels had that in the VIP tent, and then of course he was upset with himself because he didn't make it out to Alloy 2 weeks ago. I was like, all the people who were at the game the night before, you're the only one who didn't show up at Alloy.
And he said he was going to.
He's like, I missed out on that. And he tasted the beers. He's like, I should.
So what was your highlight of the fest?
It's tough to say because there's so many great beers there. I would say 75% of the brewers that are there put out some really good beers that, you probably had before, but then there's some breweries where you've had they'll have 4 of them, and 3 of them you had, but the one they just have out there just for that, or it's a small batch, and you get to taste it. It tastes pretty good. Right. 25% of the breweries come there with just their basic stuff, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. The one that pissed me off the most yesterday, me and Nels both, was Shells, because Shells is always there, and they never have a good-looking stand. They never have their name up or anything like that. They bring the same beers every flipping year, and this year, to piss Nels off even more, they didn't bring the Oktoberfest like they normally do. Yeah. So Nels was pissed off about that. And it's just surprising me that a big brewery like Shells would not, put their best effort into a brew fest.
It's like they phone it in.
Yeah, it's like they phone it in. I mean, Surly kind of does the same thing where they have their basic beers. They don't bring out, they didn't have rosé or anything like that. They have their their Hells and their whatever. But of course they have their big stand and they have, you know, people out there. So it's Surly, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of the microbreweries were out there, like Egger from Elk River was out there, and they were strong. I mean, they had 3 beers out there and they had a big stand, and Alloy was out there and they had a big stand and they were being strong. So it's kind of disappointing to see the big breweries not kind of be a big part of something like this.
So as someone who hasn't been there before, and I'm hoping I say it every year that I'm going to go, but how many breweries represent?
This year they were 65.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty good.
So unlike, and I've never been to any other brew fests except for this one. My sister-in-law Jamie has been to the Minneapolis Brew Fest, the big one at the convention center.
One's good.
And she said the difference between this one and that one is the fact that at Minneapolis one, you wait in line for 15, 20 minutes to get one beer. At Monticello, you can just walk around and you'll find a spot where there's nobody waiting and you just get your flipping beer.
Yeah.
Last night there was, I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Modest or somebody else had cracked a keg just specifically for that day and for a time period. There was only one keg for a time period. And the line was probably 50 people long. And that's the longest I've ever seen a line at this brew fest. Otherwise, it's like 5 people in a line. Yeah. It's not that bad. You know?
So, follow-up question then. If there's 65 breweries up there and, like, I mean, I might get a little overexcited in an environment like that. Mm-hmm. What's the strategy? Like, you can't go and have a 12-ounce beer, a pint from every place.
And you don't. It's, right. They give you a little sampling mug thing with a lanyard, which is nice because you can stick it on your lanyard. Oh, nice. And so... you just go around and I think the first couple of years Nels and I did it. They give you a little chart of all the beers that are there. We tried to taste like every single one and like write it down because we were trying to be cool. But then like the past couple of years, I think we just decided, hey, let's just go walk around, have beers that we want to have, you know, hang out. They now have a lot more alcohol there, so they have like Phillips vodkas out there doing their thing. They've got some what do you call it? The Bloody Mary mix people are out there doing their thing. They have wine out there now. Like Pour from Otsego out there with their wine and stuff. So it's growing. They have a lot of food out there, so it's growing and it's nice. It's just nice to be at a brew fest that's doesn't take itself too seriously. Right. You know, it's more open. It's just more friendly. You don't have a lot of beer snobs out there. Right. It's just people out there looking to have a good time and drink some beers. You know,
I was at the Minneapolis one, not this year, but last year, and I mean, it was insane. It was a 2-hour wait to get in. Yeah. And then everybody would go up to the line, front of the line, to see what they had. Yep. And so their typical brews were, you know, probably still 50 people long, but the one special one was like, you know, 100 and 125 people long, and you would be waiting and that's 10-15 minutes just to get it.
You don't want to wait too long to grab just a little taste of a beer. Yeah. For me, it's about getting as many as you possibly can and getting the ones you want to get. Right. You know, the other thing that is upsetting to me about this beer fest, and it's happened every year I've been there. We do VIP every year, and what that means is we have a special VIP area we could go in that has special beers that only VIPs can taste. We get free food, and we have bathrooms, which are awesome. There used to be porta potties just for VIPs, but now they wheel in a trailer that's got bathrooms in it. Oh, nice! That's air conditioned, so there's a men's and a women's bathroom, which is nice. But you get in there 20 minutes early before anybody else can get in there. Half the breweries are going, okay, you guys can sample our beers before 3 o'clock. And half the other brewers are like, no, we can't do anything till 3. It's like, either say yes or say no. I don't care. But for a VIP like me to go in there 20 minutes early and go, hey, can I have this beer? And they're like, no, we got to wait till 3 o'clock. And then the brewery next to them saying, yeah, you can drink our beer. You know, I don't give a shit. Nobody's going to care. Right. And nobody does care, you know. So make it, just say yes or no, you know. And then I'll decide if I want to get there 20 minutes early, if it's worth my time, you know. Because if I'm not going to be able to drink the beers 20 minutes early, then it's not worth my time to get there at 2:40, you know.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was at, I decided to go to Insight yesterday. Mm-hmm. They decided to do their, I would say it's pronounced Acktoberfest, because it's Oktoberfest in August.
August, yes.
And I thought it was kind of cool because who gets to generally do Oktoberfest in August?
Yeah, normally.
They had their steins you could buy for $20.
Nice.
It's basically $10 stein with $10 worth of beer.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't remember what size it was, but I think it's more than $10 a beer because $10 worth of beer because it was. I would guess.
Are they 22 ounces?
I think it was bigger than 22.
Really? So like 30s?
Maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I mean, it was fantastic. I just had their Oktoberfest. I got halfway through and I was like, oh yeah, I'm by myself, and
I have to drive.
I have to drive, so I can't have another one.
Yeah.
They had their Weisses with the Berliner Weisses with the different fruits that you could add to it.
Yep.
I really wanted to try one of those, but I didn't. Obviously, again, didn't want to. They had food from I'm going to butcher the name, Kramazuks.
Kamarcheks. Is that?
Oh, sure. There we go.
Kamarcheks, yeah.
See, I said
I mean, that's a mainstay in Northeast.
Yeah. And the bratwursts were fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, they were loaded with kraut and onions, and the buns were homemade.
Yeah.
Really good. They had I texted John about this because I was trying to get John and Jenny to come.
Sure.
Because I saw that Jenny was interested.
Yes.
And of course they decided not to go. But I texted John about it, and I was like, there's an accordion player here.
Mm-hmm.
He's currently playing Bob Dylan and singing Bob Dylan on accordion.
Nice.
Which is interesting.
Was it Bob Dylan?
It's a little weird.
Was it Bob Dylan?
What's that?
Was it Bob Dylan? Was it
Bob Dylan? It was not Bob Dylan.
Oh.
No. But he did have an Itasca Society pin, so
nice.
he must be a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
So Insight is that not quite north? I haven't been there yet. It's
I would say it's as northeast as you can get because
it's north of Surly, isn't it?
It's on Hennepin.
It's north of Surly. It's on Hennepin,
yeah.
And I mean you're getting really close to 280.
Yeah, because I've been there.
Point. Yeah.
And did they have their what is they have their cherry? Is it dough eyes?
Yeah, I wanted to get a growler of that.
Yeah.
But I went to the bar and I was like, "Can I get a growler of the sourdough eyes?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're not doing growlers today because of the event." And I was like, "Oh,
okay."
Yeah, I really wanted to get one of that.
Yeah, I love that the cherry dough eyes. That's a great beer from them. I've had it before and it's fantastic. I think now you're saying I think Insight was at the Beer Fest yesterday in the VIP tent because I think they were doing their Berliner Weisses with the different.
Oh, sure.
I think that was the deal. I think I had like their. I think it was a cherry one or a blueberry one or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was one of those.
Yeah, they had 3 different ones. I think they were there.
Yeah.
So,
and I've had a Berliner Weiss with fruit in it before, and it's like I think Liney's has honey Weiss and it's supposed to be the same idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, the legitimate scenario is you get the beer from the tap and they put the juice in right away.
Sure.
But yeah, it would have been nice to do that.
Yeah.
There were a couple kids running around. I was like, I texted Sarah and I'm like, yeah, maybe we should just both come because they seem pretty kid friendly.
Breweries nowadays are trying to be kid friendly.
Yeah.
There's some people who are against that. I read a nice article.
Yes, I saw that on Facebook. There was a post about.
I think you actually commented on it.
I did. I think I told somebody that if you don't like kids, just don't go.
Don't go. Exactly right.
Because it's the thing. Yeah. Sarah's not a big beer person.
Yeah.
But I like craft beers, and Sarah likes to at least try some. And we have kids. So.
That's my deal too. If I take the kids to Omni, they've got games.
Yeah.
They've got a couch. They've got an outside patio. They have like what do you call it? The sodas, the different sodas and stuff. It's like, why wouldn't I bring my kid here and have a beer or two and hang out with them? There's no big deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the difference between going to a bar and going to a craft brewery.
Yeah, this isn't 1985. Okay,
right.
When I lived in northern Minnesota, in my small hometown of Buell, I'd go with my parents down to the Moose Club because my dad was the governor and hang out at the bar.